regardless of whether it's an old Miata or a megabuck. Intriguing, driving a convertible is tied in with being seen. To drop the best is to open yourself to the world, and you unquestionably will like doing as such in Aston Martin's extravagant new DB11 Volante. The DB11 in any of its structures is an auto anybody would need to be seen in. Traditionally proportioned yet totally present day, it advances Aston Martin without breaking too unexpectedly with its past. In making the drop-top Volante variant, architects made a point not to mess excessively with the car's perfect outline. In spite of a reasonable piece of reshaping of the back rump to oblige the component for the collapsing soft top, they've to a great extent succeeded. The Volante keeps up the long, low, athletic position of the car, and, when raised, the 8-layer texture rooftop itself endures none of what one Aston originator calls the spongy umbrella look. Obviously, you'd be insane not to bring down the best and appreciate the full Volante encounter. Doing as such takes 14 seconds, and 16 seconds to raise it, and should be possible at speeds up to 31 miles per hour. It's in this express that DB11 most absolutely communicates its ethos as an excellent tourer for warm climate regions. While huge numbers of the present automakers have misinterpreted the GT name as a type of bad-to-the-bone superior postfix, Aston permits its DB11 to be a genuine GT auto in the oldie custom, with an agreeable ride, an agreeable inside, and an easily hearty however not fierce measure of energy. The last comes graciousness of a form of a twin-turbocharged 4.0-liter V8 sourced from Mercedes-AMG, here creating 503 drive and 498 pounds-to-foot of torque. These satisfying characteristics are on the whole present in the hardtop DB11, as well, and keeping in mind that it's difficult to evaluate contrasts amongst it and the Volante without consecutive drives, Aston's endeavors to reinforce the roofless model's basic inflexibility appear to have paid off. We saw nary a quiver, shake, or classless vibration amid our opportunity with the auto, despite the fact that we were driving on generally unblemished streets in the south of France. Around 98 pounds of the Volante's asserted 254-pound weight increase over the V8 car are because of auxiliary upgrades, and keeping in mind that the additional weight wasn't particularly clear, any DB11 can feel somewhat substantial on limited European streets. All things considered, we were awed with the supple and wonderful ride quality, which shows no hint of brutality, even with the versatile dampers in their stiffest setting. Aston Martin composes the DB11's case modes independently from the powertrain settings, albeit the two adjustments share 3 levels, GT, Sport, and Sport Plus. We valued the impressive identity shifts offered by these setups. Set everything to GT mode and you get a casual cruiser that consolidates the previously mentioned supple ride with to some degree drowsy throttle reaction, sluggish downshifts from the 8-speed programmed transmission, and a wonderful, repressed fumes note. Game and Sport Plus case modes are not really transformative, however they add expanded haul to the precise guiding and somewhat less consistence from the dampers. It's the Sport and Sport Plus powertrain modes that truly breathe life into the auto. In these settings, the eminent twin-turbo V8 awakens, with more prompt reaction to throttle inputs, snappier movements from the gearbox, and a genuinely exciting soundtrack loaded with characterful pops and crackles. The Volante is best delighted in with the best down, the suspension left in the casual GT mode, the powertrain in its most forceful Sport Plus mode, and a substantial foot on the correct pedal. All things considered, being heard is a surefire approach to guarantee being seen. With the best brought down, spectators will have the capacity to look at the DB11's extravagant inside, which is quite enhanced over Aston's of yore. Joining forces with Mercedes-Benz on its hardware has done Aston wonders for modernizing the Lodge, as the command-based infotainment framework is famously usable and the presentations all seem fresh and clear. All things considered, some fit and complete issues endure, and there are components of affordability inside. It appears to be justified, despite all the trouble to spend somewhat additional for a portion of the more extraordinary cowhide hues and outlandish materials, as the auto we drove didn't exactly please with its dark upholstery and to some degree boring piano dark trim. We've gotten this far without saying the 600 horsepower, twin-turbo V12 that is such a central piece in top-level DB11 roadsters, and that is on account of the Volante manages without that motor alternative. Apparently, the thinking behind this choice needs to do with the weight funds of the littler and lighter V8. In spite of the fact that there are ecological contemplations, as well, for example, China's compelling relocation impose uncertain CO2 directions in Europe. This may appear an interesting exclusion from an auto whose statement of purpose is to a great extent one of liberality, however as we found in our first drive of the V8 car, and additionally trial of different Mercedes-AMG and Benz models controlled by this husky V8. The Mercedes motor is sufficiently unique to give a convincing other option to the 12-chamber with next to zero forfeit in execution. The quantity of chambers in the engine has little to do with the heavenly picture that the DB11 Volante ventures to others out and about, which truly is the thing that this auto is about. Being found in the adjusted and effective DB11 Volante is a treat, as is driving it.